Hey guys, I hope that you guys are doing amazing wherever you are in the world. My name is Shikha and I welcome you to my channel. I hope that you guys are doing amazing and you're getting ready for an awesome party or you're already in a party, depending on the time zone that you're in. And I hope that you have an amazing 2020, a new year. You do whatever you want to do and you live a happy, contented life. And if you're interested in supporting me on my journey of sharing my knowledge and my messages with you, then you can do that by going to my Ko-fi link that's in the description below. In this video, I wanted to speak to you guys about breath and how breathing, and deep breathing necessarily, is one of the most important things you can do as an INFJ to connect further with your mind, to connect further the mind-body connection that we have. So to make it deeper, to make it stronger, to make it more vibrant. Because a lot of you guys have probably seen videos of mine that I say INFJs have a terrible, sometimes non-existent mind-body connection, especially if you're an unhealthy INFJ. I think one of the ways you can become a healthy INFJ, healthier, is by building your mind-body connection. I think that's one of the most important things I tell you guys that you need to do, is to perhaps do yoga or dance or some kind of movement meditation, or meditation in general, or something that connects you further with the body, this meat sack that we have. Because as an INFJ, we like to spend all of our time in our head. We love it there. We don't want to get out of there. We just want to spend all of our time in our heads, in our imagination, in our dream worlds. But our physical bodies suffer because of that, because we forget about them. We forget to eat, we forget to drink water, we forget hygiene, we forget to brush our teeth or take showers, things like that. But one of the specific things that I've noticed that I forget to do quite often is to breathe. And this is something that I actually have to force myself to remember. I'll be sitting there ingrained and engrossed in my work. I'll be doing my videos, or I'll be working on something that I'm working on my writing, or I'm working on something on the computer, and I'm so excited and I'm so engrossed in it, like I'm just into it. And I do notice that after a couple of minutes that I haven't really breathed for a while, and I forget to breathe. And I know a lot of you guys have mentioned that as well in comments, where you're like, I forget to breathe and I get dizzy, and I have to really force myself to breathe. And it's something that has to do with the mind-body connection, right? Now, of course, normally you don't actually have to think about breathing. Breathing happens automatically. It's one of those things that happens through the reptilian brain. It's taken care of by our nervous system. We don't have to really think about it. You don't have to be like, all right, I'm going to breathe now, and then I'm going to breathe again, unless you're doing something that forces your mind-body connection to be perhaps broken or perhaps quelled for a bit. Yeah. So what happens, especially when you're on the computer or when you are on your phone and you're really engrossed in it and you're really focused on it, and all of your bodily function, all of your body mind connection is focused on that particular thing. You're on your computer or on your phone, you're not thinking about anything else. A lot of times research has been done that proves that a lot of people who are on in this kind of situation, they forget to breathe. So normally you might breathe at whatever it might be, 30 breaths per second per minute, or less or more. But when you are on the computer or when you're distracted by a phone, then you tend to breathe less. Perhaps you breathe maybe 10 times a minute or less than that, right? And so I don't know the exact stats, but I've seen studies like that where people forget to breathe because they are in these situations. Now, these are normal human beings who are forgetting to breathe. On top of that, if you're an INFJ and you have a terrible mind-body connection, you forget about your body quite often, it will be more probable, there's a high probability that you will forget to breathe more often than these studies or these stats prove. And I do notice, as I've said earlier, a lot of times people will say, I forget to breathe so much that I get dizzy from the lack of oxygen. Now, you can't really suffocate yourself, obviously. We can't stop breathing completely, so that will not happen. But it does happen that all of a sudden you realize that you haven't breathed deeply in a while, and so you will take that deep breathe, or you'll sigh, or you'll start yawning a lot because your body is trying to get in a little bit more oxygen than it's getting already, right? Now, unfortunately, a lot of us also live in cities and countries where the air quality is terrible. Perhaps you're from China or from South America or certain parts of the world where the air quality is terrible, India perhaps. And so you are not getting enough oxygen in your breaths anyways. There's a lot of carbon monoxide and other pollutants coming into it. And so you're not breathing properly in that regard. And the breaths you do take in are polluted. And so in that regard, you have to obviously take better care of your breathing. Now, one of the techniques that I use that I love is pranayama. And I mean, there's a lot into pranayama that it gets very technical and it's very detailed and complex. So I'm not an expert on it. I'm not telling you to do pranayama. But the basic essence of what you can do is deep breathing. Also, you can remember to breathe as much as possible. And so that's what I do is whenever I'm sitting on a computer or I'm on my phone, I'll actually just do this. I'll just take this random deep breath just so that I make sure that I'm getting in these breaths that I'm missing out on, that I'm getting in this oxygen that I'm missing out on. Now you're probably thinking this seems really crazy and a little bit psychopathic and a little bit control freaky like. And maybe I'll agree with you, but I've noticed that a lot of times I am missing that deep breath. I'm actually missing the breath and I'm missing that connection with my body. And so I notice that the more I do these random deep breaths throughout my work, throughout my day, I notice that my connection, that deep connection that I want with my body is actually not terminated. It actually stays powerful. It stays there, right? It stays so that I don't have to forget about my body. Also, I do notice that the more I do these deep breaths, the more I'm connected to my body, the more I notice random things like hunger pangs or like pain in the body or back pain or things like that, things that I would completely miss out on because I'm not connected to my body at all. Now, as I've told you guys, I've worked on my mind-body connection a lot. I meditate for that. I do yoga. I'm always doing deep breathing, and I'm always doing all these interesting things like Wim Hof because I want to build that connection with my body. I know that I have a I have a terrible connection there between my mind and body, and it's very easy for me to forget about it, right? And so I'm actually asking you guys, as perhaps a New Year's resolution, or whatever you guys prefer, to just kind of start thinking a little bit more about breathing more. Breathing, obviously oxygen. Without oxygen, we will die. But breathing properly, just going and having a deep breath and doing that kind of work for yourself, breath work, is so powerful. It will give you more energy. You don't have to do anything. Just breathe, do a few deep breaths, and all of a sudden you're going to feel energized to take on the world. And it will give you more oxygen to do all the different things that you need to do. Your creativity will increase. And also your mind-body connection will increase so that you will be more connected to all the different things going on in your body. And you'll have a little bit of more sense of what's happening. Does your stomach hurt? Have you eaten too much, or haven't you eaten in a while? Are you dehydrated, or are you drinking enough water? Are your feet hurting because you've been wearing really painful shoes? Some people don't even notice all of these things because they're completely disconnected from their bodies. And so I do recommend that if you are one of those people, start a practice of deep breathing. You can just use any of the apps that are out there. There's a bunch of deep breathing apps. Or you can just follow a routine of 6 breaths in and 8 breaths out. 6 breaths in. 6 seconds breath in, 8 seconds breath out. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to breathe in, and then 8 seconds to breathe out. So always, 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 whenever you're doing any kind of deep breathing, in order to calm your nervous system and to bring more oxygen into your body, the breath out is always longer than the breath in. It can be longer by 2 seconds, by 3 seconds, whatever you want, but usually the breath out has to be longer than the breath in, okay? And so that's what I would recommend to you guys, is just try these very simple breathing techniques when you're sitting down by the computer doing your work or you're watching TV. You don't have to even think about it. Just do this deep breathing, taking a deep breath, hold it perhaps, and then let it go. And hold it and let it go over a long period of time, not the way I'm doing it right now. And so 6 seconds to breathe in and 8 seconds or 10 seconds even to breathe out. And that'll really relax your nervous system, but also really build that mind-body connection. And so powerful, it can change your life. So I hope that you will take me up on this. I know that it's something weird to talk about on this particular day, but it is very important. And I hope that you were able to understand my urgency with this. If you guys have any questions about this, obviously, please let me know. And as I said, pranayama, I'm not an expert, so if you're interested, you can Google it or go look for some other YouTube videos on pranayama. Pranayama is just a very yogic breathing, and so there's lots of different techniques you can do with it. And I do recommend, if you are interested, go look into it for yourself. If you're interested in supporting me further, if you like these videos, you can do that by going to my Patreon or Ko-fi link. The link is in the description below. And I shall see you guys the next time around. Bye for now.